Swinging a high drive into center field. It's at the wall. It is gone. Casas does it again. It's gone. It's into the bullpen. This game is tied.
He swings and rips one to center field. It's high. It's deep. It's back. It's gone. Sale winds. He fires. Swing and a miss. Strike three. It's over. The Red Sox have won the World Championship.
Welcome back to Play Tessie. It is episode 61. If you're listening on drop day, it's April 4th. Episode 61. Not cursed. It's the Caleb Board episode. We just move past that. It's what it is. Sox are coming off a big sweep of the Oakland Athletics. Grab the brooms, grab the dustpans, whatever you use to clean up elephant poop. Like, bring it out because the Sox are 5-2 and they took care of Oakland. This is the official podcast of 88-mile-an-hour winds and 88-mile-an-hour cutters, also known as the official Red Sox podcast of WEI. Just before we continue, before we get into the series, we're going to break everything down. Hit that subscribe button wherever you're listening, whether it's the Odyssey app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Hit that subscribe button and leave us a comment. Rate us 5 stars too. YouTube, we've got a playlist on WEI's YouTube page, so go there. Subscribe to WEI and rate us 5 stars. Leave a comment there as well. We're on socials at PlayTessie on both Twitter and Instagram. I'm here with Sammy and Pat. Coops in the back. Fellas, the Red Sox are 5-2. They swept the Oakland A's. The pitching continues to dominate. Obviously, they haven't faced the best of offenses. We get that. But they are 5-2. They are as good, if not better, than what you could have asked for. This game we hopped on really quickly after this game ended. I was pretty pumped up about it. We were just talking about this before we popped in. I get freaking jacked up after wins like that when it feels like you might lose, especially like when Kenley's up there throwing like 88-mile-an-hour ducks down the middle. But like Sammy, just say what you said before the show, because we have very different reactions to games like this.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I was obviously excited to see the Red Sox win a close game like that, especially one where it felt at times like maybe they were going to blow it. But this is kind of like returning your shopping cart at the supermarket. You're just doing what you're supposed to do. You beat the Oakland A's. I don't want to diminish that. It's a major league team. Say what you want about them. I know it's pretty messy over in Oakland, but how many times have we seen crazy games happen in Oakland? The middle game of this series was one of those crazy games. Red Sox were fortunate to come out on top, but I'm happy that they swept Oakland. They did exactly what you want them to do against a team like that, and we can move on.
Pat, they finish a game like that, all right? It's 1-0. They didn't hit worth a lick. They grounded into 4 double plays. They squandered so many opportunities. It's the Oakland A's. Like, you can't feel that great about the offense, but they win a big game like that. I don't want to call it a big game. They win a game like that. The pitching was great. What's your reaction when they win a game in the way that they just kind of got out of there with a win, escaping it?
Yeah, I think in my eyes, there's 2 games already on the season that last year's team lose undoubtedly. Today being one of them, and then I think it was game 1. I think it was opening day where they were giving up, like they'd have a 2-run lead, give it up, get a 2-run lead, give it up. Like those are 2 games in my eyes that stand out as games that last year's team lose, undoubtedly. We always lost those games. So kind of peeling away from teams like the Mariners and the Athletics, maintaining leads. If you're not maintaining it, getting another one, it's good to see. And like Sammy said, they went in and done what they should have done. If they took 2 out of 3, you settle for a series win. That's the bare minimum. A sweep, exciting, should have happened anyways. But yeah, feel good.
I want to go back. You're not the only one saying this. There was a lot of people online saying it too, where it's like they're saying last year's team loses this game. I think a lot of people were saying that about the second game. I kind of want to push back on that because early in the season last year, they were winning games. We were saying the exact same thing, actually. Now that I remember it, in early 2023, they would win games, and we would say, "Oh, that's a game they lose in 2022." I mean, maybe it's still true because they did defend better, at least in, I don't know, maybe the third game they didn't. But like
Cora,
having
you're right.
Rafael in center.
We were saying that last year, but it was because they had a bullpen and they didn't have a bullpen in 2022. And I remember like, oh, Chris Martin, Kenley Jansen, it's great. But then the defense was an issue with Kike and Bob at shortstop early on. I think Bob was just one game, but still funny. This year, more deficiencies covered up. Story at short helps. I mean, what can you even say? I know he didn't have a great day today, but having him out there, for me at least, makes my blood pressure exponentially lower.
Yeah, no, I mean, you can't. Obviously, Story did what he did today. It wasn't his defensive game, but it's all about how you feel about it, right? Like, all goes into the gap in center field, and when Cedon Rafael is out there, you feel good about it. You almost feel like zen about it. A ground ball that gets hit to shortstop, you feel almost calm. Whereas last year, it's like if it's hit to Kike, it's like you're feeling like shit. But speaking of errors, let's go by this. Let's go to the first game. Let's start with the first game, because if we're talking about errors, I don't think you can talk about game one without talking about some of those errors that Oakland made. They made 5 errors in the first 3 innings. They were on pace. The record against the Red Sox for most errors in a game is 7, and it looked like they were surely going to pass it, and they didn't. I'm trying to remember these errors. Can we remember all 5 errors? Can we do that?
There was
the last one was the pickoff throw. That was the 5th one.
The first one they threw down to second to try to catch Duran stealing, and it went in the outfield.
Yes.
Yep.
There was the pickoff attempt at second. The throw from the outfield was 3. The ground ball, the Noda that he just flipped into the abyss.
Oh, yeah, he was just flipping it to the pitcher, and he just threw it to the dugout.
That was the worst one. That one was like...
Oh, and then the drop fly ball. The drop fly ball is 5.
Who dropped the fly ball?
That was JJ.
Oh, Bleday. That actually might have been my favorite one, because that one was in such a like a... I don't want to say key spot. I keep like overdoing this. Like it wasn't a key. It was like early, whatever. It was like 1-0 at the time.
It led to a run.
Yeah, I think it led to 2. Oh, no. That combined with, I want to say it was Butler in right field with the throw. Was it Butler? Was he the one playing right field who threw that ball away to home? So those both directly led to 2 runs, giving the Sox a 3-0 lead. I mean, this game was over so fast because the A's just could not get out of their way.
Gordo, I know how you feel, but Pat, do you like games like that where the Red Sox just demolish a bad team and it's 9-0?
I think on work nights on a West Coast game, I don't hate it. Yeah. But no, like especially during the workday, if they play like at a normal Eastern Standard Time 7-10 game, like I look forward to sitting down, watching a good baseball game. If it's just a ugly game. Yeah. You kind of lose the thrill of it by like the 3rd, 4th inning.
Sammy, what do you think I think? You said what do you think I think about it?
Well, you texted us and you were like, I'm loving this, guys. Like, this is great. I liked it too. I was happy when it got to like 9-0 or whatever. That was the final score, 9-0. But then I was so bored for the rest of the game. Like I had so much more fun in game 2. And even today, game 3, they played like crap, but those games made my heart rate spike. I'm nervous. I'm sweating. Tuesday night, game 2, I literally had to like change my shirt because I was sweating bullets at the end. I was like, crap, don't lose this game. It's so late. It's extras. It's a work night. I was just nervous because I knew how upset I would be if they lost. That's kind of what I was afraid of. I was afraid of my own emotions. But yeah, man, it's fun for the first few innings, but then you hit that cruise control and you're like, all right, just nobody get hurt. Chase Anderson, come clean it up.
Reese McGuire almost got hurt at the end of that game. I couldn't tell what happened. I think it ended up being like a foul ball right off his cock. Like,
yeah, it was. It was.
Oh God.
You mean Ichiro, Reese McGuire, just slapping the ball?
Oh yeah.
Hitting like 330 right now. It's early, but still.
No, I mean we've had good production from him, and Pablo Reyes is kind of doing the same thing. Like both guys just kind of getting hits in spots where guys get up there. A lot of other guys on this team have been getting up there in those spots, guys you want to be able to count on, and they're grounding into double plays and striking out. But those guys, they slap singles when you need them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah. The other thing I want to get into about this game, we can't talk about game one without talking about Tanner Houck.
Yeah.
Because, oh my God.
Dude, jeez. His balls were moving.
Did he look the best out of any of the pitchers in their first start? The issue is they all look so good. 10 Ks. I mean, it's the A's, I know, but like they didn't even threaten. And 10 Ks.
I would say Peta looked best, but I'd put Houck second, right behind him. But like you said, everyone looked good in their first turn in the rotation.
Yeah, it's so hard to pick, but like that was his career high. 10 Ks was his career high coming into the game, and they pulled him from the game after 6 innings. He had just 83 pitches. So that was a game where he could have just gone right back out there for the 7th if they wanted to push him a little bit, which they definitely didn't need to because Chase Anderson was there. That's what he's there for. But he could have gotten that career high if he wanted it.
Yeah. Also, I mentioned this on our bonus episode. Got to give credit to Houck for staying locked in because it's easy to be in Oakland. You're up by so much. There's nobody in the crowd. The vibe is just dead other than in the Red Sox dugout. And he stayed locked in. So I know people will scoff at that, but I think that's easier said than done to do in Oakland.
Almost as if like you're pitching a minor league rehab game because there's almost more people at some of these minor league games than there are at these Oakland games.
I was going over the lineup with a friend of mine, and we were just trying to see like how many guys are not like good, but MLB quality. And it was like 1 through 6 is mostly MLB guys, and then it's legit. It's a AAA bottom of their lineup. What is this? Justin Law. Tanner Houck is the only Red Sox pitcher ever to allow 0 runs, issue 0 walks, and strike out 10 plus batters in a season debut. 6 innings, no runs, 3 hits, no walks, 10 Ks, 83 pitches. All right, so maybe Houck was the most impressive, but I don't know. I'd still give it to Peta because he put up similar numbers versus a better opponent. But
I agree with that, Sammy. You got to take the opponent into account too a little bit. The Mariners, we poo-poo on that offense, but compare that offense to Oakland's. Like the Mariners have like real baseball players. The A's lineup is basically half okay guys and half like non-major leaguers, whereas the Mariners, it's like half good players and half okay guys. It's like it's different stratospheres.
Yeah, I mean, they have a legitimate superstar in Julio Rodriguez, and that already alone kind of puts them ahead of the Oakland A's. Man, I feel bad for the A's fans out there.
Yeah, I mean, they kept on the broadcast talking about their situation and like whether they're moving, whether they're not moving, the Vegas stuff, like the sell the team signs and shirts, and it was tough. It was tough. It's always tough to see. I hope they stay in that ballpark. Well, first of all, I hope they stay there forever. But if they are going to leave, I hope they stay there a few more years and they sign that weird little extension thing that they've been offered, because I want to go see that park before there's no more baseball being played there.
Oh, it's worth it. I'll let me get the YouTube channel. Do some filler while I find the YouTube channel. But there's a really good A's YouTube vlogger, and he kind of takes you through like what it's like in Oakland, what going to the games has become.
Send me that.
And when he goes like to these games, like just the concourse alone, the concourse stands out the most to me. Maybe it looks like a brutalist architecture style, just all cement, cold and soulless, just depressing, man. That's a big fan base too. Like you've seen Warriors games. They used to play in Oakland. In the A's, when they were good, they used to pack that place. So I feel awful for them, and I don't blame them for not showing up to the games. I mean, would you want to go sit in that dump and watch your 112 lost team get the crap kicked out of them by the Red Sox, who have a fan base that's complaining about the pay, but it's still like triple yours?
Yeah.
God, brutal.
Last thing, at least that I have about game one, you guys can cut me off if you've got more. But people don't realize in the moment, just because it's like they're up 9-0, the game is over. Like you're gonna win the game. But, and I tweeted this today, those mop-up innings by Chase Anderson, like obviously like he was borderline perfect and he didn't need to be, but him being able to get through those 3 innings, not allow enough runs where it is going to become like a 4-run lead and you have to start using some of your middle relievers. Like he made it easy. He got us out of there. Easy peasy. And the reason that's so important is because, and this will transition us to game 2, they needed to get 6 innings Yeah, 6 innings out of the bullpen in game 2. And if you needed to put in like a Kenley Jansen because the A's came all the way back on Chase Anderson, or even if you needed to put in like a Greg Weissert or something, like that impacts the rest of the series. Like let's pretend Kenley Jansen had to pitch in game 1. Now he throws in game 2. Kenley's not available for game 3. Now, do they win game 3 without Kenley? Who knows? He didn't look very good, but I'm just saying, like, you keep pitchers available by resetting the bullpen. And so many times last year did the Red Sox put in guys, and I know it's the Caleb Ward episode, but guys like Caleb Ward would get put in the game, and that 6-run lead would shrink to a 3-run lead, and all of a sudden it's a save situation. You got to start throwing your Martins and your Jansens. This team needs to be able to keep big leads big, rest those guys, make sure the bullpen doesn't burn out, because the bullpen is such a strength for them. The only thing that feels like it could hurt it would be if it gets overworked.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Hector Velasquez from 2018. I know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Him when we were down in Florida. It's kind of like, and you mentioned it like on Twitter. There's so many times where you just said it, Caleb Ward types come in and then the bullpen gets taxed. And it really does have a trickle effect. So someone like Chase Anderson, scoff all you want, that's a valuable guy to have just to keep the rest of the guys healthy.
Yeah, we were talking about this when they signed him. It was like, oh, well, and at the time we didn't know that Bernardino was going to be optioned. We were sort of under the assumption that it was going to be Weissert that was going to be optioned, which after watching him pitch, it's crazy to think that we thought that. But like we were saying to ourselves, it's like, oh, we'd rather have Weissert than Anderson. But then you see a game like this. This is you need a guy to play this role. Like even though, yes, there's going to be games where you're going to have Jansen and Martin down, and you're going to need other guys to step up and eat innings. And in that case, you'd rather have the better reliever than Chase Anderson. But you need the long guy. You're gonna be in deficits too. Like it's gonna be like a 6-run deficit, and you're gonna want a reliever to eat 4 innings. Like that's Chase Anderson. So don't sleep on how valuable that is.
I also like that he's 35. I like that he's a veteran. And
why is that?
I don't know. I'd rather the long relief guy to be someone who's a salty veteran. They're not gonna overstretch. I don't know. I feel like that's a veteran role.
Did you count Brian Johnson as a veteran?
No.
He was, but he wasn't.
He wasn't a kid, but he wasn't a vet.
Yeah, but he was also more of your depth starter too. I guess Chase Anderson. It's too early to tell what his role is.
Yeah, is he that? Like he might be.
He probably is. Who else would it be? Walter's hurt.
Well, you call up Criswell.
Criswell. Right.
But sometimes you might need you might want. Like, for instance, if it's a starter just needs to skip a turn, so you don't want to put him on the IL, you're just trying to skip the turn once.
Yeah.
That's Chase Anderson.
Yeah, that's valuable.
Yeah, you need it.
And again, I can hear the people scoffing at it. It's not a joke. That's legitimately valuable. I think any Major League Baseball manager would agree with that.
Yep. Let's go on to game 2 a little bit here, because this game was, this was the prize game of the series. It was crazy.
That was the crazy Coliseum game that happens every time they go out there. There's always a crazy one. But they won this time, which is good because I prefer the Red Sox to win the games rather than lose.
How long after a game like that does it take you to fall asleep? Because I was actually,
Gordon, I was kind of shitting on you because you're like, I'm not going to sleep tonight. Yeah, I was pretty amped up. I didn't sleep for a bit.
You guys are rookies.
Pat.
I had
Fuck you.
I had 80 milligrams of edibles in me. I fell right to sleep.
Oh, you dog. No, I was up till 2:30.
Really? Dude, I was so ready to go to bed. I was watching come on, end this, please, please. And then they end it. I was probably asleep within 20 minutes.
I was probably, it was a mix. It was the Sox kept me awake. And then because I was awake, I was thinking about other shit. But yeah, no, I probably fell asleep 1:45, 2-ish last night.
God. Yeah, those games like that, let's get into it a little bit, because first off, if we're talking about, and we'll get into series MVP stuff after we talk about all this, but I don't know if we're allowed to pick this guy for a series MVP, but the true winner of game 2, was unequivocally Alex Cora. It was like one of the best managed games I've ever seen. Like,
dude, wow, that was a master class. And I love how so that was a great game. Of course, we all agree he managed that beautifully, a master class. And then there's going to be a point in the next few weeks where he makes a relief pitcher decision that backfires, and everyone's going to say he sucks and he's a shitty manager. Like that was unbelievable. I had no clue what he was going to do next, and it worked. Beautiful.
Sammy, you just said it. You said that there's going to be some bullpen move, like some future game that's going to make people pissed. I thought that was going to be Joely today, but we'll get to that.
Dude.
yeah.
Joely's not this shit. We'll get to it. Yeah, like you said. But that was really cool to see because I feel like we don't often get opportunities to see Cora in his bag. Just moving guys around, playing the matchups, bullpen management on point.
Double switches galore. Like
yeah, and then the thing with the ghost runner where it could be you don't have to, you can just opt to not use the pitcher. That's so smart of Major League Baseball because that would be so dumb. You have to use the pitcher. Come on, we don't want these guys getting hurt. Just end the game. It's the regular season.
Just picture what could have been though, Sammy. Picture Josh Wincowski. Wink.
I am the Wink. I am the
Wink on second base.
I think when he sprints, he goes wink, 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 wink.
That's how I picture it. Yeah,
he's like a Pokemon.
Wink, wink, wink.
He says his name like he's like
Pikachu.
Think about it, Sammy. We were talking to the players, and multiple of them said that they wouldn't want to take Wincowski to the island because like he's gonna be all jacked up on Mountain Dew or whatever. It's like I pictured Wincowski on all these drinking all these energy drinks, and he's like buzzing, like wink, 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 wink.
Yeah, they try to pick him off at second base, and he steals third.
Oh yeah. Oh, Winkowski's the one with the electricity in his bones.
Oh,
if you don't know that reference, go listen to our last episode.
Who said that about Wink? They're like he'd be bouncing around. Was that Houck or was that
Houck and Kelly both said it?
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
And they both said the Mountain Dew thing, if I'm not mistaken. I think they both specifically gave the same reasoning.
Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew.
So how about those umpires?
Hey, it's early in the season for them too, Gordo.
It's spring training for all of us. That's the worst line ever. Ugh.
That's right. No. I'll tell you what the worst line is, and I'm glad you said that. I hate this shit. When it goes to extra innings and everyone goes, free baseball. Fuck you. I'm still paying for cable. It's not free.
Wait. Let's dig in here a little bit. I have an expression I hate. It has nothing to do with baseball, but give me some expressions you hate. I'll give you one. I despise when people say that they're on cloud nine. I hate that.
Cloud number 9.
It's not about the number. It's so overused, overplayed. Like, find another way to say you're happy.
I'm happy.
That works. That's better.
Okay, I'll tell you mine. I hate because it's wrong. I hate this one because it's wrong. When people say, shit, I could care less. Grammatically, that means you do care because you could care to a lesser degree. If you say, I couldn't care less, now I understand. But when everyone says it too, man, I could care less. That means you do care a certain amount.
I've been having that exact argument with people since the 4th grade.
It's not an argument.
I have two. One of them is a saying. One of them is a common grammatical error that drags me up the fucking wall. The first one is, I know several people who call it the crack ass of dawn.
The crack ass of dawn? It's the
I've never heard that.
Several people.
I've never heard someone say not ass crack of dawn.
Yes, thank you. Okay. The other is my biggest grammatical pet peeve is when people say I couldn't have asked for blah 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 blah. It's fucking have. HAVE, not couldn't have asked.
Couldn't have. Oh, couldn't have. Yeah, that is ugly.
Drives me insane.
I've never thought about that one.
In New England, people be like, I couldn't have done it. It's like couldn't have.
But I mean in tweets, Instagram, whatever it may be.
Wow.
I couldn't have thought of a bad amount of It's have. I couldn't have.
Even if you
Drives
have
me
the most like strong Boston, anywhere New England kind of accent, you don't tweet in the accent. So I agree with you, Pat. Like you gotta,
Yeah. Oh
you
yeah.
gotta. We sound like such nerds right now. All right, I got one more, and then we could stop bitching. I hate when I hate when people say the MLB, like he's
Oh
the
yeah, that's
best
a bad one.
MLB. It's just he's the best in the Major League Baseball. Ugh, makes my skin crawl.
Oh, I got one more.
Let's hear it.
What the fuck does by flying colors mean?
I
Does
don't
what?
know. I think
By
it means
flying
like
colors, like
fireworks,
he passed by flying colors.
like
Oh.
fireworks, like it's like boom, fireworks, flying colors. I think
That's stupid. Yeah.
That's just one of those expressions that I've never like. It's just been like I've never like thought too deeply into it. There's something that people say on Twitter that pisses me off, and I can't put my finger on it. And at some point, I'm going to remember it, but I don't have it right now. What else do we got from this game? Oh shit, Mason Miller.
Oh
Dog.
my god, man. Pat, you hit the nail on the head in the preview. Holy fuck. I don't think they're going to see anyone that nasty all year long. That kid was throwing 102. Easy 102, by the way. He should be a starting pitcher. I don't know why he's closing. That's an easy 102. And then he has a demonic slider from hell. The deepest depths of hell is where that slider comes from. I was enjoying it, watching him carve up the Red Sox in a game where they needed to score. And I'm just mesmerized. That kid's a freak of nature.
He is so good. Like I said at the preview, if you thought Andres Munoz's casual like 99 was crazy, Mason Miller, just no effort, nice loose windup, nice loose follow through. 1-0 fucking 2. He is disgusting. He is so good. He's gonna be incredible for the Braves in like 3 to 4 years.
Pat, no, your point about Munoz is good because Munoz I've always acknowledged as one of the best relievers in baseball, and like Mason Miller is new to the whole bullpen thing. Like he just came up last year, he was starting, got hurt. I think that's why he's in the bullpen is because they think he's going to get hurt starting. But like I think maybe if he makes it a full season healthy, they'll put him back and give it a go, which they should do. But yeah, comparing him to Munoz, it's as great as Munoz is. It was like it was just different. It was better. I don't know how it was that much better, but it just was. It was crazy. And on the other side of it, seeing Trevor Story piece up 101 for a double down the line was such a good sign. And I want to say, had a hit off of 98 earlier in the game. Catching up to velocity like that is something, and I know like the breaking balls have been giving him fits for years, but like catching up to high velocity last year was something he wasn't doing, and he wasn't timing those pitches up at all. But seeing him do that, especially with Mason Miller's 101, like very good sign for Story there.
Righty too. A little extra impressive.
Yeah. Crazy. Last thing I have on this game that we definitely need to get into, and we'll talk about the bullpen at the end because, oh my God, this bullpen is so fucking good. That catch by Cedon Rafael, and I think I want to kick it to Sammy because you had a good tweet in the comments of Maz about this catch.
Yeah, he was just saying like an average MLB center fielder gets to that ball. And I know this isn't a perfect use of this. This isn't a perfect use of the statistic, but that ball had a expected batting average of like 830, I think. So at that exit velocity and that angle, that falls 83% of the time. Now that's not perfect because it doesn't take into account the ballpark and the direction that the ball's hit in. But point being, that's not an easy catch. Not every major league center fielder gets that. I'd say less than half make that play. That's very tough. Not to mention it was windy and in Oakland too, which the broadcast mentioned multiple times for those who are watching the game, which you got to do to make analysis like that. So yeah, I think he deserves I think he deserves more credit than that. And he made another one in game 3, which we'll get to. This kid is just such a blanket of calmness for me as a fan. Look at that. By the way, another thing, the attentiveness to immediately throw the ball right back into the cutoff man. A great throw as well. Just a great defensive player. We're very lucky to have that guy out in center field. Ideally, he's batting low in the order, so that takes pressure off the bat, and he can just lock it down out there.
Coop, keep that Maz tweet up because I want to read it. But before that, to your point, Sammy, I keep because I just keep hyper analyzing the Ceddanne Rafaela's bat because I'm just I just want him to be a reasonable hitter so badly. But I have to keep telling myself that last year, it took Tristan Casas a month and a half. He wasn't himself. He wasn't the Tristan Casas we know for multiple months last year. So we have to give Rafael the same benefit of the doubt there at the plate. He hit in the minors. His chase rate was down in the spring. He's looked okay at the plate. We got to give him time. But I want to go into this tweet from Maz. He says relatively basic. It's a video of Rafael's catching game 2. And it's this relatively basic thing here, but the overall ineptitude of the Red Sox over the last couple of years makes it noteworthy. In past years, the Red Sox didn't have a center fielder who could make this catch, especially with the game on the line, which is really more of an indictment on the Sox of 22-23. Is it a good catch? Sure, but most legitimate Major League center fielders make it. The Red Sox finally have one. One other note, Duran was in center field and for part of the game last night. Not sure he makes it, which only amplifies the point. And the one point I want to make on this is that for Rafaela, for a tweet like this, for Maz to tweet this, it means that Ceddanne made that catch look insanely easy, which just makes the catch that much more impressive by Rafael. People want to see these crazy divers, but what makes a good center fielder is being able to cover tons of ground with ease. It's not always about flash and flare. Rafael makes it look freaking easy out there.
Yeah, and he said most legitimate Major League center fielders, so maybe he meant the above average fielding center fielders. But I'd say if you had half the league and half the center fielders, I don't know if more than half of them get to that ball. And like you said, Gordo, not just get to the ball, but easily get to that ball, and then throw it back in right to the cutoff man and not stand out there what am I doing next? Just a great defender. Love watching him.
That might be it for this game. I mean, I have notes about Kenley because Kenley didn't. Oh wait, no, that's not it for this game. Wink, holy shit, Wink.
Yeah, wow. Strands 2 ghost runners.
That was how. In the spots too, because it's one thing to strand the ghost runner. It's another when it's a tie game in the 10th. You've got the runner on second, and you have to get out of that or you lose. He had that first and third situation with one out where that ground ball was hit right back to him. And he was saying he probably should have gone to try to turn the double play. But I think he made the right play making sure. Yeah. I think he made the right play running out the runner on third, getting that out. The guy who was running to second didn't even make it to third. So and then he obviously gets the next out. Next inning, now the Sox have a 1-run lead, just as pressure packed. That runner on second is 180 feet away from tying the game, and obviously you're 1 run away with the batter at the plate from losing. And he threw his nuts on the table. Got the outs, struck out the last batter, had a great K scream, great video. I K screamed with it. It was fucking 1 a.m. and I'm just, ah! That was me.
That was you. And then Kenley comes in. Right?
Yeah. No. Kenley was before. But we can get into the Kenley stuff with the third game because he did it again.
Okay, yeah. Oh, that's true. So it went Kenley right in a tie game, correct? When Kenley came in game 2?
Yes, and he kept the lead, but it didn't look good. The cutter was sitting around 90, 91. In the third game, it was as low as 88. This is the type of stuff, and we'll just talk about it. This is the type of stuff.
Game 3?
Say what?
You want to move on to game 3 officially?
Yeah, we'll move to game 3. But we'll just keep talking about Kenley here. The 88, his cutter was basically sitting 88 to 92. Multiple of his cutters were in the 80s. He got it up to 95 in game 2, and he got it up to 94 in game 3 when he was gassing it up. But the 88 stuff, like I just remember watching games last year with Corey Kluber on the mound, and like that's what we were talking about with Kluber, and like here we are with Kenley, like 80s. I hope it's not going to last. I hope it's just because he's hurt, because he's probably pitching hurt right now.
Yeah, right. Not a guy I would want to push to pitch when he's not good because he's, 36 years old. But anyway, the thing about Kenley when he doesn't have his velocity, the cutter is still cutting and he's still got that extension. So he's always going to be an uncomfortable at bat. And he did ramp it up to 95 in game 3. I don't know if you guys caught that towards the end. I think it was the second to last pitch he threw was mid 90s. So that's a good sign. But the pitches he's leaving up in the zone, that looks like a guy who's not finishing his pitches, which is what happens when your back is hurting. So again, I still stand by. I'm glad he didn't pitch game 3 of the season. It sucks they lost, but you need Kenley healthy. And he got the job done twice in this series, bottom line, whether it was pretty or not. I also want to give him credit, his post-game remarks. I'm not going to get it perfect, but he said something about he's glad he got the job done as well, but he's got to stop walking guys. And he says he'll be better. He's working on it and everything that you're supposed to say. So I think Kenley's gotten way too much grief after we all agreed with him all off season long, but it was good to see him pitch 2 solid games, though it wasn't the most aesthetically pleasing performance.
Yeah. And for game 3, talking about guys who got the job done but didn't necessarily look sharp, I think that's a pretty good way to describe Pivetta as well, to a lesser extent, because like with Pivetta, he wasn't locating very well. Pitch count got up there a little bit. Like, did he walk? I think he may have only walked one guy. Was it one?
Yeah.
So like, it's not like it totally killed him. He still made it through 5. And if Story was able to stop that hard ground ball, and it wasn't necessarily an easy play, they ended up getting a double play a little bit later, but it cost Pivetta like maybe 10, 12 pitches. He might have been able to come out for the 6th. Like, he didn't let up a run. He didn't look his best. The sweeper was not really doing anything close to what it was doing in Seattle, but he got the job done. And that's what good pitchers do, is when they don't have their best stuff, they find a way to keep their team in it and get it done. And Pivetta, to keep his team in it, had to be really, really, really good because he couldn't let in a run to keep the team in it.
Hey, I want to ask you guys something, and this is a take that I've been sitting on, and I really noticed it in game 2, and I'm sorry to go back to game 2, but I noticed this with Bayo. It seemed like he was very clearly not focused, not locked in. Similar with Pivetta, just didn't seem focused and locked in. He wasn't showing that emotion that he normally shows until the end of his outing. I genuinely think it's hard for guys to pitch in Oakland because there's no adrenaline. It's dead silent. Gordo, like you said earlier, it feels like a AAA rehab game. And I just think guys like Bayo, who we've seen pitch much better in big games, guys like Pivetta, who we saw pitch in game 2 of this year in a more hostile environment on a bigger stage. He's the number 2 starter now, and he showed how good he is. I just don't think these guys can get up for Oakland because it feels like nothing. I don't know what you guys think, but it just felt that way in the last 2 games.
Yeah, I think no, you bring up a good point because we've seen Bayo absolutely dazzle against the Yankees. We've seen him dazzle on Sunday Night Baseball. Like, he has a pretty good track record in terms of meaningful games showing up for those. I don't think you're wrong. Like, you got to think too. It's also today's on West Coast. It's a noon 12:30 first pitch. Like, rolling out of bed, not to play in front of any fans. Like, I'm sure there is some form of lack of adrenaline component. But no, I agree. And Pivetta, especially because Pivetta is one who is always showing emotion on the bump. He showed a ton on that double play to get him out of the inning. Outside of that, though, like, he just kind of went about his business. Like, I think you're onto something, Sammy, in terms of there's not much to desire pitching in Oakland right now, especially when you're beating the Oakland A's. Like, it's not like it's a grudge match. I think Pivetta would have been a little bit more fiery if this was a split series and they're going for the series win. They've already won the series. It's a 12:30 first pitch. There's 57 people in the stands. It's hard to get going.
Yeah. It's also that ballpark is giant. So
Yeah.
I feel like in the back of your mind, you're like, How are these guys going to score on me? It's huge. I can't stress it enough. It is in the foul territory.
Yeah, joke.
It's not a baseball field. It used to be the Oakland Raiders, as
That's
I'm
so
sure
true.
you guys know.
Watching them play their games with like infield dirt was always so weird to me. Like,
Oh, the Raiders?
what the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what the hell is that?
Big shout out to what's their grounds crew? Clay Wood, who's the head groundskeeper there and has been the groundskeeper there for a long, long time. That's a tough friggin' gig. Easier now without the Raiders, but man, at least you could say their field surface looked great. I don't know if you guys heard that in game 1. They were talking about how the A's always have like the best surface. So
Yeah, you were saying.
Yeah, Clay Wood. That guy's a beast in the Bay Area.
Yeah. And Sammy, just to give my thoughts on your take there about Bayo and Peta not necessarily like being locked in. I feel like that might be the wrong wording, but you're on the right. Like you are right. Like locked in might not be what I would say, but like jacked up for it. It's hard to it's hard to get your blood pumping.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like they just didn't seem as into it. Like Bayo in game 1 in Seattle just looked dialed in. Like he was ready to attack. And then game 2, he kept doing this. The lean back thing. Bad body language from Bayo. I'm sure Cora said something to him about that. But one more thing on game 3. What do you think the odds are that we see another game like today where both Ceddanne Rafaela and Trevor Story make an error and they win? I feel like we'll never see that again for as long as we live. 2 errors.
What was Ceddanne's error?
It was backing up fucking Willier.
Yeah, he probably shouldn't have gotten an error.
Oh, they gave him an error for that play? That's interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess that's a single.
He gave an extra.
That's tough. Because like that was like half on him. It's like the half stat. It's like wow, I can't speak. It's like the half sack stat in the NFL. Like that should have been like a half error to Rafael, a half to Willier.
Well, point being, do you guys think we'll ever see that again where those two make an error and then on top of that the Red Sox somehow managed to win? That was wild.
God, no.
Well,
not a chance.
Make it even crazier. Rafaela makes an error. Story makes an error. Red Sox only score 1 run, and they win the game.
No chance. Yeah, no chance. Before we move on from this, from game 3, just a couple other notes. Curious where your guy, and maybe this is more of an overall thing. I mean, I want to highlight Jarren Duran before I make the point I'm about to make because he had a fucking hell of a series. And in that final game, he went 4 for 4. He had 3 hits and 3 stolen bases in the first 3 innings of game 1 and had 2 hits in game 2 and then 4 hits in game 3. Like, this is a guy who's leading off every day. They were confident enough in him to face the lefty, got 2 hits in that game. Like, this is a guy that they were platooning last year. Not anymore. They are committed to Jarren Duran, his development as an overall baseball player, not necessarily in center field, but they'll put him in left, and he's going to face lefties and righties, and he is playing really well right now, and he is electric every time he's on the bases. He's either stealing second or the pitcher and the catcher are thinking he's going to steal second. He's been awesome and a huge difference maker. Like, you saw it all series long.
Rafi's got to stop swinging first pitch.
Rafi had a tough game.
Let Duran steal. He did that in game 2 and then twice today in game 3.
The double plays, he grounded into 2 double plays he beat 1 out, but he erased Jarren Duran from the base paths, I think, twice today, right?
How about that double?
Yeah.
Great double. Blasted it.
55-mile-an-hour exit velocity on that, and it just trickles down the line. Hey, good way to be heads up getting to second. I feel like a lot of guys would pull up at first and be happy with that, but
yeah, he was gunning it the whole way. And God, this takes it back to game 1. But that first run they scored in game 1, game 2, because it was important because it took them to extra innings. They scored that run because Devers legged it out. I want to say it was a double play opportunity, and he beat out the ball to first. And then Story was able to double him in because that game stayed alive. That game doesn't go to extras if they don't get that run. Devers made that play. He made a great defensive play to keep the game tied. And then in this game, He legged it out to get to second. Obviously, he didn't end up scoring there, so it didn't necessarily make a difference. But like, it's great to see your best player making differences on the margins, if that makes sense. Like usually these guys, like, yeah.
Good series. 13 shutout innings from the bullpen too. I'm quite pleased, though I'm not going to get ahead of myself.
I think you can. I'm willing to say the bullpen is all that.
Oh, the bullpen's definitely good. I just worry. I feel like other than Joely, Kenley makes me the most nervous right now.
Yeah,
he does not look sharp.
Who would be next? Who would be competing with Kenley for the spot of like? Because obviously Joely makes you shiver. After that, though, if it's not Kenley, who would it be? Like they all
Campbell, because of his hard hit issue from last. Like he's still good. Campbell would be.
I thought you were saying because he technically allowed an earned run, even though he just allowed a single and Joely let it. Can I get my bullpen stat?
It would be. Yeah, go ahead.
So I tweeted this out, but it was before Game 3 of the series. It's gotten even better. So let's erase Joely Rodriguez from the conversation. The bullpen, not counting Joely, has thrown 24 1/3 innings this season so far through 7 games. In those 24 1/3 innings, they've allowed just 1 earned run. And that 1 earned run was an Isaiah Campbell single, and then Cora pulled him from the game, and Joely let up a homer, and it scored. So basically, the bullpen, not counting Joely, has not allowed a run yet.
Yeah,
Nails.
insane.
Right-handed Drew Pomeranz, aka Justin Slayton, coming in the game. He looked good. He looks like Pomeranz, doesn't he? Like a grittier Pomeranz.
Is that like the haircut, like the back of his hair, kind of like when he puts the hat on?
The face. I think they have a similar face, like less pouty, more like gritty.
Pomeranz was pouty.
Oh yeah. Whoa.
Actually, I don't know if he actually was or if he just looked like he was, but he definitely had that look.
Yeah, he looked pouty. But yeah, Slayton, great, just as advertised. Campbell, if Campbell's the guy who makes me third most nervous, we're in pretty good shape because he's looked excellent. The thing that makes me nervous about him is he throws high curveballs, which just stresses me out. I know they're nasty, but stresses me out. Interesting thing, by the way, Red Sox stats, the best Sox account. Mentioned this. Isaiah Campbell got hammered on his fastballs last year because they would get too much of the zone. Just like everyone else, no longer throwing fastballs. It's like 95%, whatever.
It's all the sliders. It's all the sliders.
Or whatever the hell his nasty breaking pitch is. Love it. They have a plan. Woo!
They do. I want to move us forward. The Red Sox won the series. So we're going to pick a series MVP. This is the first. They split in Seattle, so we didn't pick one there. But you win a series, you got to have an MVP of the series. So I'm curious, do you guys have thoughts on this? Like, do you have an MVP pick? Do you want me to – I've got a couple of candidates that I've got, but if you guys have picks, I'll let you just fire them away.
Duran.
Yeah, I was thinking Duran. Who else would you go with, Gordo?
So Duran, 9 for 12 in the series, 4 stolen bases. So that is the other candidates I had. You could go Wincowski just for how great that one outing was, but it's only one game. You could go Rafael for his defense. He saved potentially 2 games there. And then outside the box, like, you could just give it to the bullpen for 13 scoreless innings. I think that's kind of a cop-out. And then you could go Cora. You could go Cora if you wanted. You could go Cora.
I would go, if we're not going Cora, and I'm not going to go Cora. I'll go Duran. It has to be Duran. Would you say 9 for 12?
Dude, yeah, 9 for 12. I think he might have gotten hit by a couple of pitches too. I'd have to go check on that. I know he got hit by at least one. But he was on base like almost every time.
He had the one that grazed his jersey, and Uke was like, "Oh, those are the best," which was very funny because Uke
coming from him.
Yeah, he knows. Yeah, Duran. He also played center field one night, which I don't think we should gloss over. No, barely noticed him out there, which is the best thing I can say. He was good.
Yeah.
So you guys are both team Duran. I think I'm team Duran too. It's hard. You can't go 9 for 12 in a series and steal 4 bases and not get the MVP of the series.
Yes.
So, God, that's the first. Congratulations to Jared Duran, the first Play Tessie Series MVP.
Yay!
We gotta,
Woo!
yeah,
We
we
did
gotta,
it,
we gotta,
children.
we gotta get like a tune for that. Da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da.
You did it.
Oh. So some enough said.
Hit it.
Let's enough set it up. Buttercup.
Which one of you guys wants to go first? I have to think of something. I don't know if I thought of one. I have to think of one.
I can go. And Coop in the back, please jump in if you have any added context to this. But I just wanted to give a shout out to A's fans in general for dealing with the mountain of bullshit that they're dealing with. I also want to bring up Last Dive Bar, which I think is really cool. It's a clothing line, but it's become kind of like a movement in and of itself. And it's just clothing that voices the opinion of Oakland A's fans of what's going on in that city with that team. And I thought it was really interesting. I don't know if you guys have heard about WristbandGate. It's kind of this.
Mr. Ruiz.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah. Can you elaborate on this? Because I keep seeing like he wore some wristband and they think that's why they sent him down. What is
so there was a few guys. So yeah, those are the wristbands. Coop showing them. It just says Last Dive Bar, which the Oakland A's staff, they're very aware what Last Dive Bar is. And I think there's another company called Rooted in Oakland that also either collaborates or does something similar. But those two companies, maybe they collaborate, maybe they're one and the same. I don't know. But basically, they made these wristbands, and here you go. There's Ruiz with the wristband, and Brent Rooker with the wristband. And Ruiz, after wearing the wristband, one of their better players, not great, but one of the better players on the A's, he got demoted to AAA, which I think is a little bit nutty. Brent Rooker, who hit 30 home runs last year, got benched. Crazy if you think they have a better option than him. Christian Pache, I think he got traded or released. He wore one.
He's
and then there was another player who wore one as well, whose name escapes me. But I saw Kotze was wearing one too. So the players, the coaches, the manager himself are all on board. I think everybody other than Little Weasel John Fisher, the owner of the A's, is on board with the sell the team movement. Like I said early on, 2 episodes ago, it makes our complaints about Fenway Sports Group seem like nothing. It makes it seem trivial. So just shout out A's fans, shout out Last Dive Bar, Rooted in Oakland, all those guys.
Yeah, so I got to add to this because I was listening to Part of My Take on the way home. Shout out PMT. I'm an AWL. So they were talking about Last Dive Bar. Dan Katz, huge Cubs fan, and I would say go finish listening to this episode, then go listen to that because he has a great explanation. Because what he tried to do is he went to that website that we just showed you, lastdivebar.com, and he loved the story, and he also hates John Fisher. I believe him and PFT they're betting against Oakland every day this year, up to $100,000 throughout the season, which that rocks. But basically, he went to go buy out a ton of merchandise, and the owner of Last Dive Bar actually emailed him and was like, "Hey, like, is this correct? Did you like accidentally buy this or whatever?" They sorted out. He did try to buy that like whatever merchandise in a bunch, and I will probably buy a wristband because those are sick. But basically, the Oakland Athletics at one point commissioned artwork from this bar because they do a lot of merchandising, and that Rooted in Oakland thing, they came up with that and they drew up different things for them to sell. And MLB turned around and said to the bar, like, "Hey, C&D, you can't sell any of this merchandise. It's copyrighted by MLB." And they went back, they tried to have a back and forth where they were like, "Hey, we literally commissioned this. Like, we did a partnership with Oakland Athletic, let us sell it." They said, "We'll sue the fuck out of you if you continue to sell it." So they've been having like a war with them for a while on this. And they've been like a part of the community. They've been a part of, there was a documentary last year where I think it's with that YouTuber you had mentioned, Sammy, Gamer Athletic.
Yeah, shout out that guy. That's a great channel.
Gamer Athletic. Channel. And they, I think, helped fund like a lot of the protests that they did last year, the sit-ins that they did last year. So John Fisher's a dickhead. Like, it's weird. I don't know.
What a fucking loser, man. What
Yeah.
an absolute fucking spineless loser.
Do you know
And
how he got his money?
He does that. Oh, it's hard on me too. He always says that. Ugh.
Do you know what's hard on him? His parents were the ones to actually build up Gap, the old clothing brand that has, I think, gone out of business now under John Fisher. Yeah, he's the heir to
Gap's out
Gap.
of business?
I don't know. I don't see them anymore. Are they relevant?
No, they're not out of business, but it's like Best Buy. There's a lot less of them.
Okay. Well, yeah,
yeah.
that's his family. And he's just holding on to it because he, I guess, thinks he's a good owner. But Las Vegas, the city that's been wanting a team forever, they don't even want you, dude. So yeah, I have so many thoughts on that whole Oakland thing. I would think it would be awesome to see like maybe the Bay Area cities come together, their parks and rec departments, and try and buy out Oakland Coliseum and run the team. Like, that would be a cool little.
I think it would be cool if the Giants were like, yo, take San Jose, because the Giants currently have a minor league team there. So the A's can't go to San Jose. And like, yeah, it's a rivalry, but Bay Area baseball growing is good for both. So
Yeah.
That'll never happen. That's my hunky-dory utopia brain.
Yeah.
It never happened.
No, I mean, like, I had that thought too. Like, if someone really wanted to come along and buy out the Athletics, like, you could put them in a minor league team, like you said, and then be there for however long, do a like parks project with the city to keep Coliseum there, gut it out, and actually make a stadium that's habitable for people. Like, it's an easy thing to do. Or I shouldn't say it's an easy thing to do, but it's just like greedy people get in the way, and that sucks. Because
the concept is simple.
Yeah. Like, Oakland has like a championship history. Like, it's not like they're just like some team that keeps bopping around. Like,
I think they got 11
sucks.
rings or something. Or no, they have 9. They have a lot, but
do it
Coop,
for Eck.
This might be a dumb question. Last dive bar, is that a reference to the Coliseum being the dive bar,
Yes.
or is there like okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
But I believe they are actually. Let me give that a Google.
Regardless, it's really cool. I like the they have one of John Fisher as a puppet.
Okay, yeah, no, it's just a reference to it being like an old stadium.
Yeah, baseball's last dive bar, the Oakland Coliseum. Really cool, man. I feel so bad for those fans. It's such a bad.
Could you imagine? Like, imagine at any point in your life, the Red Sox are just completely terrible and leaving.
It's kind of like weird. Like, it's two spectrums. It's we have a greedy owner, and like he gives us a championship every once in a while. Whereas the other spectrum is you can have a greedy owner that just doesn't care about you and also runs a team into the ground.
And it's going
We're
to
at the other end of the spectrum of greedy owner.
I don't mind John Henry being greedy if he puts a good product on the field. Be as greedy as you want, but give me a good baseball team. That's all I care about.
Yeah, they don't get that. They don't get that in Oakland. They just don't. And it's the losing. It's the taking the team away though. Like, there's tons of owners in baseball that don't spend money. Like, he's one of several, but taking away the team from a fan base that at one point was really like they were good fan base. They still are a good fan base. They just don't go because
they don't go to the games. They protest though. They show up. They exist. It's not like
they do.
It's not like who's a team that has no fans? Like
Tampa.
Like
Tampa has a good following. Like, a lot of people watch. Like, they have a huge viewership in their broadcast market.
Yeah,
it's just the stadium is so out of the way, and most of the viewership is old people. So like they don't go and watch.
Or like Padres. Padres have a really small fan base because they have a very small sliver of California and they're near the Dodgers. It's not like that where you have a bad team and not that many fans. Not that the Padres are bad. I'm just saying if the A's fan base were the size of the Padres, you get the point. There's a lot of A's fans. The Bay Area is a big market. And by the way, if they move to Vegas, Vegas's market size is about comparable to Milwaukee. So it's not a huge market either.
Vegas doesn't even want them.
Yeah, why would you're the defending champs for hockey. You have a football team, which will always be more popular. And then the A's come and they're by far the least exciting show in town. So why would they want the A's?
Do you guys watch Welcome to Wrexham at all?
No.
I've seen some.
For those that haven't watched it, Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney, they buy like the lowest tiered professional soccer team in Wales.
I've heard of this.
Yeah. Oh, I'm setting it up for people that don't. But when they originally bought the team, they bought it from the city. Like the city was owning and operating the team because they had originally, I believe, like either seized it or had bought it back from the owners that had kind of like run it into the ground.
Like the Packers.
Yeah, sort of, not really.
No,
That's
Packers
more
are
of a
like
corporation.
stake owners, yeah, I know.
Yeah. But they sell shares of the team that definitely are worth something. But that'd be cool to see. Like thought experiment type thing. Like, would a government be able to run a baseball team? Probably not, but it would be entertaining.
Yeah. It depends on which government. If it's like Turkmenistan, I don't think they're going to be a good team.
No, just local government, like Pawnee, Indiana.
Pawnee.
So we're not doing Turkmenistan.
No, I think
Not the first choice.
Dang.
They'd probably be a soccer town.
They're a ghost town.
Okay, well, I don't know too much about Turkmenistan.
Oh,
Anyway.
Fascinating country. It's like North Korea and Las Vegas combined. But anyway, anyway, to wrap up my enough said, I feel awful for A's fans. I think Red Sox fans are all supporting the whole sell movement for you guys. If there's any A's fans out there listening, sending love from rainy, windy Boston.
Yeah, shout out. Pat, you want the next one or you want to go last?
No, I can go. Mine's a nice little setup for the next episode. Anthony Rendon is 0 for 19 with 1 walk and 5 strikeouts this season.
He's got a tough job.
I know.
He also doesn't care, so like
I know. It's just a job, you know. But honest to God, I was thinking about it. That has to be the worst contract in MLB history.
What about his teammate? What about Strasburg?
Yeah. Strasburg was like but it's like a retroactive, like,
yeah.
There's context to that one because it was
don't put Sale in there.
No, I'm just saying it's like Sale. I don't want to call the Sale contract. I'm not saying the Sale contract's the worst ever. I'm saying the Strasburg one is a little bit like Sale because like Sale won the World Series and Sale had all these incredible seasons and the Red Sox rewarded him for that.
Yeah,
it was the same thing. Strasburg was the World Series MVP and like was their guy and they rewarded him for it. And yeah, he never did anything for them ever again. But like at least they got something out of him. Rendon, the Angels never got anything.
Anthony Rendon, this is his 5th year. 5 years. That means if he played every game, if his name was Marcus Semien, he would have played 810 games in 5. Oh, no, I take that back. Even less than that. Because it's the beginning of the 5th season. Regardless, 5 years. This man has played 205 baseball games.
Yikes.
That is 40 games a year, kind of. It's 50 games a year for the first 4 years of that contract.
You know what he reminds me of? You know that I can't remember the guy's name. There was some like big Twitch streamer who had a meltdown about how difficult it is to stream for a long time and saying like, you don't get this kind of burnout at a regular job. That's Anthony Rendon. Like my job sucks. Like, bro, you're living all of our dreams in front of our face and complaining about it. I hate that guy.
That's brutal.
This is enough said. We're just talking about people we hate.
Pat, I hope you understand that Anthony Rendon is about to hit 3 home runs during the series because of you. If it happens, I'm looking right at you. Your fault directly.
What was the quote that Pap gave us? The love of the game does not flow through that motherfucker's veins. Was that the quote?
I don't remember, but I remember. Yeah, Pap
sounds like
Pap
Pap
hates that. Pap hates that guy.
I wonder what his teammates think of him. The guys who are currently on the team who have to be with him 24/7-ish and travel with him and play on the same team that he technically plays for. They gotta hate his guts because he's making triple what they make and complaining triple of that they do.
And you cannot like him. And like this is, I just remember when he was a free agent, my buddy at the time was a ticket sales rep for the Nationals, and Rendon was a free agent, and he's like, Yeah, like just so you know, this guy absolutely hates baseball. Like I would never pay him. So it's like,
so it's not new.
No, it's not new. It's not new. Yeah. So it's your fault, Pap.
It's one of those. I know a guy who works at the ballpark who says that this player is an asshole. I love those takes. Where you're like, really? Is it true? Who knows?
Another thing that he had told me, I forget where he heard this one, but the Rangers at the time were trying to pitch Rendon to come to Texas, and the owner got Rendon's name wrong when they were talking.
What did he call him?
I don't remember. I'll have to ask him. I'll tell you guys when I figure it out. My buddy will remember. That was a good one. I forgot about that.
Abraham Rendon.
Yeah. Oh, thank God Abraham Toro never came through today. This series. He had so many chances to do exactly what I said he was going to do.
Man, he sucks.
He does suck.
Also, what is Mark Kotsay doing? They're talking about this happened twice when Kenley was pitching. The Red Sox announcers are like, Dave O'Brien and Uke are talking about how, Kenley is so tough on lefties because he's got that cutter. And then 2 times, Kotsay was like, send in the lefty. Like, bro, what are you doing?
Seattle did it too. I don't understand. I think the same thing. Like anytime I'm playing like MLB The Show, for example, like anytime I'm facing Kenley, I don't pinch hit with the lefties. I always hit with righties. It's much easier to hit the cutter going away.
I think that's why Victorino started batting only right-handed, because lefty or righty started throwing him cutters all the time when he was batting lefty, and someone was just like, yo, hit right-handed only, and then we'll go on to win the 2013 World Series. And that's exactly what happened. Like that. That's verbatim what happened.
All right. My enough said time before we wrap this thing up. And this is I've had this written down to bring up as enough said for a while, and have just kept on not bringing it up because other things just keep popping into my head to use as enough saids. But this one's very relevant because we're talking about expressions that we hate this episode. This one's not one that I hate. It's just one that I'm looking to hopefully get an explanation from you guys. Maybe you guys get it. You'll see like okay, a guy's up with like the bases loaded in the bottom of the 9th and they're down 3 and he hits a walk-off grand slam. And the announcer will go, "You cannot make this up." What does that mean? What does that mean you can't make this up?
I think it's like you wouldn't even think to write this in a story.
Yeah.
It's so unbelievable that even you wouldn't be able to compartmentalize this before it happened if you were writing a story kind of
like
thing.
This is so perfect that even in your wildest dreams, you couldn't even think of something so perfect happening.
Okay, hold on. Now I'm getting 2 things in my head. Is it that it's so perfect that you could never imagine something being that perfect? Or is it, this is too perfect, it's unrealistic?
No, neither. It's extraordinary. It's something so spectacular that you couldn't have even written it in a story.
Why couldn't you write it? Why couldn't you write it?
Because it's beyond your imagination.
That's what it means? It means it's beyond the imagination?
Yeah, like you couldn't even think of it. You couldn't even write it down.
Okay, now that's an expression I hate. That's stupid.
Wait, what was the ones we were talking about earlier? I was going to use one and my brain just stopped working. Damn it. To each their own.
To each their own. Are we we'll wrap this thing up right there?
Wrap it.
All right. Before we wrap this thing up, we're releasing a series preview episode. It's going to come out the day after this one drops. So what day is it? As we're recording it is Wednesday. So this episode is going to drop on Thursday. The next episode, the series preview with the Angels, is going to drop on Friday. So keep your eyes out for that because we got another one coming right your way. But for this one, it's episode 61. We appreciate you guys tuning in. But before you leave, if you're listening on Friday, before you jump into the next episode, the series preview, just remember, follow us, subscribe wherever you're listening, Odyssey app, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Hit that subscribe button, rate us 5 stars, leave a comment, tell us some expressions that you hate. Same thing with YouTube. Hit that thumbs up button, leave a comment, and subscribe to the WEI YouTube page. We're also on the socials at PlayTessie on both Twitter and Instagram. But till next time, till the series preview, till we see the Sox play the Angels. This is Gordo here for Sammy, Pat, and Coop. Thanks for tuning in to play Tessie for episode 61. Sox are 5-2. Life is good. Thanks for tuning in. Toodaloo.